Hello everybody and welcome back to Fifi vs Aaron. I'm Fifi and welcome back to part 2 of our Unsolved case files. So in the last video, if you haven't watched it, go watch it now before you continue because you'll be lost.
And we don't want to spoil it for you.
Yeah. But if you did watch our last video and you're here now, then we are about to open our bonus envelope A. So we've completed the first objective, which was find Bones innocent. So we found Bones innocent, so we've packed away all his stuff and we're sitting at the side because I don't think we'll need it. So let's go open envelope A. This is our case objective 2.
And we've got another news
Crack.
article.
So this objective is crack the false alibi. One of the 5 suspects in the case has lied about his alibi. His.
So the man.
Your job is to find the proof. When you can prove a suspect's major lie about his alibi, so it said has again, visit this page to prove it, so we have to go on and visit the webpage again. After cracking the fake alibi, you open bonus envelope B with additional envelope and the final objective number 3. Hint, you're looking for an obvious and unmistakable lie in the suspect's alibi, so this should be a bit easier.
So this is the newspaper article but cut out from McBride. I will read this. McBride cleared of all charges in 1998 Riverdale murder.
We have got 4 case files here. A guy called Derek Severs, Andy Allen, Rex Ratliff, and Christian Peterson. So we'll split 2 case files each because there's 4 here. So who do you want?
I'll take the top 2.
Okay. So Aaron has
Derek
Severs
and Andy Allen.
and I have Ratcliffe. He looks a bit sus.
Rex.
Oh, sorry, Rex. What did I say? Rat. He's a rat. See if he ends up being. Come back in part 3. If Rex Ratliff is a murderer, then I've called it here. Right. So and Christian Peterson. So I'm gonna go through Christian Peterson first and find out him.
And I'm going to do Derek Severs.
Christian Peterson is the husband, isn't he?
Christian Peterson. He has
Yeah. So
fiance.
Sorry, they never made it to the wedding. She never made it to the wedding. Alright, so this is the husband or the fiance's individual statement. Time of incident 9:30 p.m. Okay. Harmony and I went to the parking lot to check the Land Rover for my parents' presents, but they weren't there, so I drove home to get the presents and left Harmony in the parking lot to return to the party. She was 50 feet away from the door when I left. Police apprehended me at my home when I was picking up the presents. So look, that looks smudged a bit there. I don't know if that was meant to be that. So individuals who can confirm their whereabouts: Jenny Rogers. I actually know somebody called Jenny Rogers.
So they are.
Friend, and they have the phone number and the address there. So this is the friend's statement that I'm going to read. The engagement party started off with lots of fun until the argument. Dun dun dun. Harmony and her fiance got into an argument at the club. Christian had a look on his face that was kind of intense. His jaw was clenched and his eyes were red with anger. Not a good look for you, Christian, because now you're sus. We told police Christian killed her, but nobody actually saw that happen, so it could have been someone else. Harmony's told me about a few weird guys at work, a stalker and some deadbeat dad. You could check them out. Talk to your office manager, Cheryl. They got into an argument. Christian was not a happy bunny. So Cheryl Pratt is Harmony's office manager. Now I'm just going to look through the recorded interview with Christian.
Mine is Derek, and his individual statement said, I was boating with Admiral Joseph Arthurson from around 8:30 p.m. to 10:30 p.m. We were together on the Ainsley River all night. We saw and heard a lot of first responder activity near Tully's around 9:30 p.m. But we're aware of what happened until later. I was obviously in the military, and he's got military combat training.
Right, so I'm reading through the full recorded interview of Christian, the fiance, right?
Right.
So they
Are
were
we doing
supposed.
this?
No, I'm just reading a wee bit of what it's read. They informed the people. So the wedding was actually the next day.
Right,
after
okay.
this dinner, right? So she was killed the night before her wedding.
Yeah.
And now I'm already only about a quarter of the way down this page, and he's very defensive. So like, they thought I killed her. It wasn't me. Obviously, it wasn't me. What other leads do you have? I know 2 or 3 people you need to talk to. So he was already getting a bit defensive and deflected it on the other people.
So my witness statement is from Chris Adams,
What's the relation of him to the case?
a friend.
A friend, okay.
So this is Mr. Chris Adams.
So he's a witness for Derek Sivers.
Yeah. He mentioned that he was also in the Navy.
Hold on, Navy?
Yeah.
So the cop that's interviewing the fiance was saying, what do you think I took her out the back and kill her? And the detective said, well, who did? And he immediately said Ratliff, which is this other case file that I have, so I'll get back to that. But he says like he's been stalking her, Ratliff has been stalking her. Why are you not grilling him? The detective said, interesting. And then Christian said, or maybe that psycho Navy guy who lost his kid, talking about
This dude.
Derek Sivers. So
Yep.
he knows who they are, okay.
When Miss Ashcroft came to the parking lot to get to her car, he began screaming right at her, saying things like, "You have no right to keep me from my son. You will pay for this, young lady." She attempted to simply ignore him and leave, but I could tell she was scared.
So I'm going to go on to my next witness report. My person of interest, the supposed stalker, and Ratliff, as I call him. I have to admit, this is very fun.
It is, isn't it?
We'll solve this and then we have to solve the case before we eat. Dominant hand is also left for the stalker. So we're going to call Rex Ratliff the stalker. I was at home the whole time. I got home from work around 9 p.m, which was apparently 30 minutes before the murder happened, and stayed in my apartment all night. And his landlord can prove that. So I'm going to just double check at the
Nope.
where did I send my pictures to see if there is a Miss McCoy. So
I have to continue on with this.
this wee old woman here is the stalker's landlord, who can apparently prove that he was in his apartment. I'm going to read the witness statements. We have a witness statement from Cheryl Pratt, who is Harmony's office manager, and Louise McCoy,
Thank you.
who is
We're good.
Ratliff's landlord. So we're
Jamie
going to read
Louise?
the landlord one first. Oh, the wee doll was 81. I mean, her memory's not going to be all that great. The stalker, Rex Ratliff, was given a brochure by his landlord to go to this place to get therapy because he was crying and punching the wall. He seemed to be staring at one face in particular, and I believe the face belonged to the victim, but at the time I did not observe this as unusual. She is very pretty. I observed him coming up into the building a little before 9 p.m. I know it was then because it happened right at the end of the X-Files when the whistling comes on. She has good memory for an 81-year-old. Then a little over an hour after that, I heard crying and screaming. It was during the first story on 2020, so it must have been sometime between 10 and 10:15. I couldn't make out any of the words, but it sounded really dreadful. I immediately went up to his unit and knocked on his door to make sure he was alright and ask him to quiet down. At this time, he did not answer the door, and I went back down to my apartment. Eventually, as the evening went on, the noises stopped.
The detective dude said to him, "If we contact Captain America, would he tell us where you were? Would he tell us about where you were on the night of Harmony's murder?"
Hermione?
I know. And Derek said practically yes, they would. And he saw the detective said, "Sounds like a really great guy, this Benedict. Derek, the best. He'd do anything for a Navy brother. Detective, including lie under oath." Derek, "Oh come on, detective. Isn't that the military code? Anything for a brother, death before dishonor, and all that. You cover for each other like nobody else would." Derek, all due respect, detective, you're out of your league. That's the kind of thing civilians don't know anything about. Detective, really? Let me introduce myself. Gunnery Sergeant Jack Montgomery, Station, United States Marine Corps. He stays silent.
So there's the oath that Army brothers
Go
would
together.
die before they give up information or betray their guys.
Their
So
trust.
after the landlord gave the stalker Rex the number for Helping Hands therapy, he called, and Shell Pratt, who is the office manager, answered the phone, and she was saying that he made her very uncomfortable.
I'm going through Andy Allen now.
So he began telling her a few basic things about his mental health state. He mentioned that he was feeling depressed and lonely, but he seemed uncomfortable about sharing more specific details. He mentioned that he needed to see Harmony. At this time, I told him that she was a child psychologist, but he was free to set up. What am I? So she said that Harmony was a child psychologist, but he was free to set up and arrange an appointment with someone else. But with Dr. Breeson, the other psychologist in the clinic, but he immediately became irate, so really angry. He tried to work with him on a few other options. She mentioned that she could possibly refer him to another clinic, but once again, this made him upset. He told her that it was important that he needed to see Harmony before it was too late, and when she asked what he meant, he hung up. So that's what I've got so far.
Okay. So, Andy was at home fixing the brakes on his car all evening. He went to bed around 11 p.m, but at 2 a.m. he received a phone call from Deborah Ashcroft, Harmony's mother. She explained to me that Harmony was murdered at the party. My neighbour Jason can confirm that I was fixing my car when the crime happened.
So why would her mother ring
His car?
I think we've just solved it.
Hang on.
Let me see the car. What's it say? The car was
64
grey
44
Hyundai
35.
Sonata.
644435.
644435. That is his car.
That's his car.
And he said his friend said that he was confirmed that he was in the car the whole time. But his car is not where it said it would be, so that's the big lie.
But hold on. This is from a witness statement. I have known Andy for about 3 years. He's one of the nicest guys I've ever met. I've never seen him violent or angry. When I heard about the murder, I wasn't sure what to think. I remember being disturbed by the news and surprised at this kind of thing would happen randomly. I immediately reminded me of something my father, a career police officer, said to me when I was a child. He said, most murders are really more about love than hate.
Oh, he's a paralegal. So he's a lawyer.
Is that what that is?
Mummy. A paralegal's a lawyer.
You can't ask them, is they're going to be doing it.
It's a lawyer. No. She would work with lawyers.
She would work with lawyers.
She's a child psychologist. So she would work with lawyers.
I was aware of how close she and Andy were. I had known they had been close friends since childhood, Little League I think. After her murder, I began to think of a few strange conversations I've had with Andy. There was one occasion where we were joking about how hard it is to just be friends with a woman. At one point he began staring off into the distance and said, I guess it can work out as long as you never fall in love. I laughed, but he didn't. I didn't even have to ask who he was talking about. He talked about Harmony a lot. It was apparent that he had strong feelings for her.
So Andy had strong feelings for Harmony.
Mm-hmm.
And then obviously must not have liked the fact that she was about to get married.
Mm-mm.
And lied about his car. His friend also lied. about him being at his house fixing his car when his car was photographed outside on the date of the murder at 9:38, so 8 minutes after the attack. His car was outside.
We caught him.
So he really wanted to go to the rehearsal dinner, and his car was photographed outside of the restaurant at Tully's. So we've got the lie. So this is the stalker. This is all the phone calls that he made to their office.
Ooh. Okay.
Not answering, and that was over 10 times he called the office on the day of a murder. I think we've got our guy. So, are we ready to solve the case?
Andy is determined that he didn't go to the party, that he was fixing his car
At home.
but picture proves it.
From outside the restaurant proves that his car was here, and this photo was taken. Where's my finger? My fingers. This photo was taken 8 minutes after the murder, so 9:38 p.m. So he was outside the restaurant 8 minutes after the murder, and he claimed he was at home. The picture evidence proves he wasn't. So,
And now I'm going to read the witness statement from the next door neighbour, Jason. Anyway, he came over to borrow a tool that Friday night, right around 10 p.m.
so that was
So
half
that was
an hour.
after.
So he went over to get a tool after the murder.
And I asked for a turkey wrench to borrow. Told me he'd been fixing his brakes for the past few hours, which I didn't doubt because he was kind of sweaty and out of breath.
Andy was a lawyer who obviously must have been working with Harmony because she was a child psychologist and stuff. And what the statement said that he had formed a deep bond with her, so like really in love with her. He said a neighbour invited him to go to a little league game the night of the murder / rehearsal dinner for the wedding, but he was insisted that he wanted to go to the rehearsal dinner, and then he said the night of, "Oh, I'm going to fix my car," but he said he stayed at home all night fixing his car when his car was seen 8 minutes after the murder outside the restaurant where she was murdered.
Now it
So,
says,
here.
what two documents, or do you know which suspect is lying about his alibi? Prove it below to move on to the next part of the case. What two documents do you need to provide or to prove one of the suspects is lying?
Right, so
Car.
the picture of the restaurant. So also he was able to say you should be talking to Christian. He got in a big argument with Harmony in front of everybody and stormed out of the party with her right before. So he was obviously there to see that.
Witness statement from Chris Adams. Can I do these 2 minutes? The witness statement and
Who's Chris Adams though? What the witness statements from Chris Adams?
the one that he said or no, not Chris Adams. Oh, you're reading that one.
Chad. But hold on, it doesn't say. I was reading that
No,
there. It
it's
doesn't
right.
say the Chad. So it says there, right? He asked him if he wanted to come to the Dodgers baseball game at night, but he made it clear that he wanted to go. But was there not one that said? See, that's why I'm reading this. They say that he was at his car all night.
Aye. Other side.
Full recorded interview for Andy Allen. So that's the one he says he was outside the house all night. Suspect interview, Andy Allen. And then the picture of the car.
Sorry, those are not the two documents we're looking for.
Right, try the photograph and try witness statement from Jason P. Griggs.
Nope.
What?
Right, we'll keep that anyway because
Right, so the picture definitely proves it.
aye.
Now right, try the witness statement from Chad Highsmith.
Nope.
No. There. I was at home fixing the brakes in my car all evening. The person of interest form for Andy Allen. Yes! his alibi is fake. So come back for the next video. We'll be moving on to the next and final objective. So, yeah. So, Andrew Allen
As
lied about his alibi. And because he said he was at home all night fixing the brakes in his car, but we've got a picture of his car 8 minutes after the murder outside the restaurant. Once again, thanks for tuning in and watching part 2. If you haven't already watched part 1, you're probably really confused, so go back and watch. Make sure you all tune in for part 3, which should be somewhere around here.
one of our heads.
We'll see you soon.
See you very shortly.